These are the 17 China travel cheat codes I wish I knew before coming. China is one of the most incredible places on earth, from the crazy tech streets of Shenzhen to the breathtaking mountains of Zhangjiajie. But if you land here with just Google Maps and a credit card, you're stranded. The Great Firewall blocks everything. No Facebook, no YouTube, no Google, not even the Play Store. And cash? Literally nowhere accepts it. At first, it honestly feels like China is the final boss of travel. But after a month of getting burnt and figuring it all out, the good news is it's actually quite easy if you follow these cheat codes. They'll save you time, hundreds of dollars, and countless frustrations while unlocking a side of China most tourists never get to see. So let's jump in, starting with the one thing you must do before you even fly. Google Maps, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, even the Play Store, all blocked the moment you land. I had a working VPN set up, but my wife didn't, and she spent the first few days completely lost and unable to contact any friends or family. So you need to make sure you've got your VPN up front. I do have a link. I use NordVPN. I do have a link for them in the description below. You can check them out. I find they offer pretty good value. They're pretty well known, quite trustworthy, and they're actually one of the best to use when traveling in China. Make sure you download it on all your devices, that it's up to date before you leave, and even test out, make sure it's working before you fly. Cheat code number 2 is to check if you're on the visa-free list. They've announced a whole bunch of countries, I'll pop them up on the screen right here, that allow 30 days without a visa. If you're from the US, you still will need to get a visa, but for UK, Australia, Canada, and New Zealand, you're all on that list. For the Americans, there is one hack. You do get a 10-day transit visa, which means you can actually go into Hong Kong and fly out from China or vice versa, because you do have to leave the country, not return. But the cheat code is just to fly in or leave from Hong Kong, get your flight back that way instead. Cheat code number 3 is SIM cards and data. Now, this is really important. You pay for everything with your phone. Cash is not accepted, so you do need data. Without data, you can find yourself in an extremely uncomfortable position. Same as battery on your phone, but more to come on that soon. If you don't mind eSIMs, if you've got an eSIM compatible phone, you can get one straight up and you can have that ready to go before you even land. If you are going to land first, that's the first thing you're going to need to do. You're not going to be able to book a taxi or do anything without getting data first. So if you don't have an eSIM compatible phone, the first thing you need to do when you arrive is to get data. So I just went straight to China Mobile, got a SIM, physical SIM, put it in my phone, paid, it was about $30 US for a month of unlimited data. Got that sorted, was able to then book a Didi to my hotel. More on Didi soon. There's a frustration-free way on how to access it, but the other really important thing that you're going to need to do once you land is to make sure you keep your phone charged. Now, I recommend using a power bank. You do have to make sure that power banks, it has to include the label showing how much megawatt, what the charging capacity is, and what the storage of the battery is like. Make sure you have that, otherwise buy one when you get to China. This is very important because just like not having data, if your phone battery goes, your ability to pay, book transport, everything goes with it. So make sure you keep your battery charged. Cheat code number 6, cash isn't dead, but it's on life support in China. When I arrived, I had some Hong Kong dollars. I exchanged it in Shenzhen because I wanted to get the 21 note for Guilin to find that famous viewpoint. I spent the rest of my time after finding that viewpoint trying to spend the 21. I could not spend it anywhere. No one would accept it. This is common in China. Cash is not accepted. You need to set up 2 apps. Now, you can get these apps installed before you arrive. You've got Alipay and WeChat. WeChat, you might need to set up once you land, and you may also need to re-authenticate Alipay when you land and you've got your data as well. This is important as it allows you to set up Alipay in China. You can't actually do it outside the country. You can use a third-party travel card like Wise to attach to it, so then every transaction is just debited from the Chinese yuan that you put into that card. You might want to do some research into a travel card beforehand. I always choose Wise. I do have a link for them below. They've saved me so much hassles throughout the years. I use them for all my travels, and I find they offer amazing rates everywhere I go. Once you've got Alipay set up, just select Didi within the app. It streamlines the whole process of booking and paying. You can find Didi, the separate app itself, much harder to use. So the travel cheat code here is just to use it within the Alipay app. And travel cheat code number 8 is some Didi drivers can get a bit scammy. I did have one driver when I was in Zhangjiajie that charged me a parking fee, even though he picked me up from the street. I had my hotel staff jump in and help me out, and they ended up saving me and getting my money back from Didi because of the overcharge rate. So just be mindful, keep an eye on the transactions and what they're actually charging you. Sometimes they will try to put on some extra costs, and if you're not paying attention, then you can get caught out. Cheat code number 9 is the WeChat verification struggle. So for WeChat, you actually need a local to accept you sometimes. We just approached the receptionist at the hotel we're staying at. So they helped my wife get all set up with WeChat. It does require someone to meet a certain criteria before they can actually accept you. They've got to scan a QR code, and that will get you approved and onto WeChat. Once you've got that covered, you're all set up. WeChat will work fine. Once you've got that sorted, then you're all done with WeChat. All you need to do is set up your card as well for payments, and you're all set. Cheat code number 10 is the start of just getting around. Google Maps will not help you in China. Even if you've got your VPN set up, it just doesn't work. It's wrong locations, even when you do have some locations. Most locations you won't even be able to find. It's extremely difficult to use. Your only option is Apple Maps. That's going to provide you with a lot more information. But outside of Apple Maps, the best thing you can do is speak to locals. I used my reception staff a lot. Tour guides with any of your travels and attractions that you go to. Restaurant staff can also help you find locations as well. So it is one of those things. If you rely heavily on Google Maps to get around, unfortunately, in China, it's not a thing. You have to go back to the old ways of just asking people for help. And when it comes to just getting from place to place, Didi is the cheapest and easiest way to get around. You've got your private taxi, it's comfortable. There's plenty of drivers around, especially in the cities. Even in Guilin, when I was in the countryside, I never had a problem getting someone. It might take 5 to 6 minutes. But in the cities, Shenzhen and Chongqing, you get a driver pretty quickly. They're usually within a few minutes away, and it's so affordable, especially if you're considering public transport as an option. There's very little difference in costs, so it just makes sense to use Didi. Just remember to use it inside Alipay. And when it comes to traveling around, so if you're traveling from place to place, the trip.com app is the best option for your long speed rail and flights within China. The long speed rail and flights you can actually book through Alipay, but Alipay has a 3% additional charge on international cards for anything above 200 Chinese yuan. So when it comes to your long distance trips, especially if you're booking for yourself and someone else or your family, that those prices will often be above 200 RM. To avoid that 3% fee, just book direct through the trip.com app and just use your card directly. You will not get charged the additional 3% fee. Cheat code number 14 is to use the translation app. Alipay has a translation app. You'll find you'll need it for a lot, to communicate with restaurant staff, with hotel staff. You'll need it to read menus. You can take photos and use it that way. There is a translation service within Alipay itself, so you can select a country and have the Translate app within Alipay do that for you as well. Or Google Translate if you've got your VPN set up and that's working. Cheat code number 15 is the toilet trap. Now, if you don't know already, a lot of Chinese toilets are squat toilets, and often they only have some water through either a hose or a bucket to clean up afterwards. Make sure you bring some tissues with you. Go before you leave your hotel room. Go to nicer restaurants. You'll find the bathrooms there can be much better. You're not always going to find the sit-down toilet, so make sure you have some tissue with you just in case you need it. Cheat code 16 is the culture shock. There is a common queue jumping thing. You'll find that a lot of older people will go in front of you. It's part of their culture. Smoking is big there as well, and spitting. They do spit a lot, so just be mindful that that is just common. It's part of their culture, and they're not being rude. It's just the way they are. Cheat code number 17 is time of year to travel. The sweet spots are April, May, and September, October. These are the edge seasons outside of summer. Summer can get quite hot and winter can get very cold as well. So it's a good opportunity to go through these months where it's not too hot or too cold. Unless you're going to enjoy Chinese New Year, I would recommend avoiding those dates because they will interfere with travel patterns, with public holidays and over tourism in some areas. And the real reality check for me from China was that it's actually very safe. I've felt safer in China than I would be back home in Sydney these days. It is extremely safe. There's always police presence everywhere. There's never an issue. There's cameras everywhere. So it does give you that sense of security and safety. You don't see any people committing crimes. And there's always security guards checking at entrances to attractions, train stations. They're actually quite friendly and helpful. I found particularly restaurant staff and receptionists at hotels and resorts really friendly and accommodating. They would always help us if we had baggage. We got a couple of room upgrades and different things added on unexpectedly. They were just very helpful. If this video saved you some time and stress and money, just smash the like button. Leave a comment below if you've got any other travel hacks. If you haven't seen me climb the world's scariest ladder in Zhangjiajie, China, I'll pop it up on the screen right here. So just click to go watch it. Don't forget to hit the like, subscribe if you haven't already. And if you have subscribed, you're awesome. You're the reason why I make these videos. And I look forward to seeing you in the next one.